Let's jump to this story from EV Magazine. We have to do this. EVMagazine.com. Sam Bankman-Fried likely to be transferred to the same jail where Jeffrey Epstein allegedly committed suicide.
Did not kill himself.
I love how EV Magazine actually put allegedly, like, they're not going to just say it. Despite the fact the official narrative from all of the corporate press and everything is that Epstein did, they're still maintaining allegedly. So Sam Bankman-Fried, running FTX into the ground and gets arrested. And now they're like, well, we're going to transfer him to jail. Yeah. And then I have to imagine the moment he found out, they're like, oh, they're transferring you to, this is the prison. Eyes started welling up because he knows what's coming next.
Have you been following this at all, Kyle?
Kind of putting me on the spot right here. No.
It's nuts. It's like the biggest financial scam in human history. One of, if not the biggest.
I think I'm going to have to start learning some more about it.
Well, yeah, but I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I was just wondering how deep you are into it.
When Luke brought up that the jail Epstein was in, and then he was shuffled off this mortal coil, and now
just imagine his face.
Sam Bankman-Fried, you saw like the video of him like running down the street scared because people saw him.
Yeah, this is an absolutely corrupted jail where the jail guards still weren't held responsible for their larger crimes of whatever happened. I mean, I'm trying to be careful with the words that I'm trying to use here. I'll just say when Epstein was taken out, I think that's more of a fair assessment since there was multiple attempts, multiple camera failures, multiple failures of security, multiple procedures that were not followed. The two prison guards that were looking on their phone for high ticket items that they were going to purchase, like motorcycles and expensive furniture, they were, of course, brought to court under federal charges. The federal government essentially gave them a slap on the wrist. They never faced any kind of real repercussion for it. And for that person, Sam Bankman-Fried, to go to that jail as he was arrested right before he was about to give testimony to Congress really shows you that there might be something bigger here, as many people question, where did he get a lot of that money from? Where did all that money come from? As a lot of people are also saying, as soon as Epstein kind of was removed from the picture, there was a lot of money in play. There was still a lot of assets and money from Jeffrey Epstein that still hasn't been accounted for. A lot of people are speculating that money was moved into SBF in order to continue the money laundering operation involving the World Economic Forum, the Bank of Ukraine, and that's how they were kind of moving money back and forth through all these sinister parties.
Someone said on the show, they said that when the Epstein stuff happened, like right afterwards, everything started unraveling.
COVID. I mean, everything.
Everything.
Like the world started to fall apart after that. That's how I felt.
Well, people's consensus, people's understanding of the world and participation with it kind of faltered a little bit, because how else could they not realize that your tax dollars were paying for this international trafficking and extortion operation of children? The people on the left admitted it. The people on the right admitted it. We all agree that this was happening. Yeah. The corporate media is still lying about it, but the only thing that kept it alive was a hashtag. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
We were kind of unified for a little bit there.
Exactly.
It was nice.
What if the story is Epstein gets recruited to handle kind of like this international laundering, but then secretly begins this blackmail operation and turns it on his handlers and these global elites, so that when they're like, all right, Jeffrey, you're going to do this and do that, and then he walks in there and goes, actually, smoking a cigar, we're not. And then he presses play on a TV and it shows some like lewd and lascivious video of a world leader. Because that's the theory, right? Yeah. That he was recording these people on the island and they're like, what is this? And he's like, you're going to do what I want now. What's the possibility that he was either a patsy or that he was actually running the show? What do you think, Luke?
It's, he was one of the players, but he was one of the disposable players. He was still taking orders, obviously, since they took him out. But he did have surveillance cameras hooked up everywhere, in every room, especially in his New York City mansion. There was there was a lot of testimony, people coming forward saying there was cameras in the bathroom, there was cameras in the hallways, there was hidden cameras everywhere. Mm-hmm. And one of the victims recently came forward and said Jeffrey Epstein was very smart when politicians and powerful people were forcing themselves onto children. He made sure he wasn't in those camera angles, and he made sure that the video footage was kept in a safe. The FBI broke that safe, and then they found a whole bunch of photos and videos that we still haven't heard about today.
But doesn't that suggest he wasn't the pawn, that he was the ringleader?
I don't know. We don't know at the end of the day, because we're still scratching the surface of what we actually know that's happening here. he was a major player. He was one of the biggest players.
Yeah.
But he was, again, a disposable player that at the end of the day, I think still was taking orders, and there was bigger people above him.
I don't
know, though.
But
Right.
then he made it to the other side of the chessboard and thought he was a queen.
That's what I'm saying,
like,
that he flipped it on him because, as we were pointing out, like the moment he's gone, all of this stuff starts unraveling. We start seeing people get exposed. The money starts going wild. Like, you make a good point. Maybe it's very speculative, but then FTX starts funneling this money, and now SBF's going to the same place. I wonder if he wasn't a pawn. He was like a centerpiece, a linchpin, connecting the dots of all these things. And without him, the whole thing just unravels.
There's a painting by Maria Farmer, who was one of the girls that was trafficked, or like victims, I guess if you want to call, or survivors of this whole experience. And it shows, she like paints all the people that she remembers being at the island and being involved at, Epstein's house in New York and stuff like that. And Jeff is in the picture in the far right, upper right corner. We can probably find the picture at some point. It's called the Setiles, or the Setiles, Setiles. And it shows Jeffrey in a UFO up, like he was the space cadet. He was the crazy wild face of a piece of the movement.
The cult leader, but
she certainly did not peg him as the center of anything. If anything, it was Ghislaine Maxwell. And the very center of this picture is Ghislaine Maxwell, the head of a serpent, like the head of a dragon. And then there's lots of other faces of people we know.
She was the daughter of Robert Maxwell, who also was someone who was deemed a double agent, working with Israeli Mossad, Russian intelligence, UK intelligence as well. A lot of people called him a double agent, and that's why he was kind of taken out. He went on a boat ride and then was never kind of found again. He was essentially a Rupert Murdoch kind of figure in the media. Ghislaine Maxwell also is another kind of fascinating figure that played a very key central role here. She also, very interestingly, also had helicopter license, submarine license as well.
What?
And yeah, she was...
Wasn't Ghislaine in charge of like going to the boat and getting the files away from people after he like disappeared or died?
What do you mean?
Like Ghislaine, like there's other sisters, and like she was the one that went and got the files like from the business to keep it safe.
I don't. You gotta help me reference some of that. But her sisters are also connected to the FBI and their database centers, and also to big tech social media as well. So it's a big club, and we're not in it.
I've been listening to Whitney Webb interviews about this. She wrote
Whitney Webb
volumes.
does some great work.
Shout out to Whitney Webb.
You got to give me a specific reference.
Yeah,
to
I'll have to get like when that timeline was, but it made it seem like she was just like, I think Whitney's point was that Ghislaine was way more entrenched with whatever dealings her dad was doing, because she was there to collect certain files I think after he died. But I got to check that.
I got that painting that Ian referenced.
Yeah, anecdotal.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
It is a crazy image. I don't know, can we pull it up?
It's, of course, anecdotal. This is from Maria Farmer's memory of what she experienced while she was involved.
Is Ghislaine right here?
Right in the middle
Is this
there.
Bezos?
She's in a bubble, like she's protected.
Oh, she's got like a dragon body with a weird tail or whatever. Okay. What, is this Bezos right here? What does that say? That looks like Bezos.
You can start naming names. I don't know if my life is on the line if I do that, but all their faces are right there for you to look at and name yourself if you want to.
Who's this guy?
They're right in the middle.
Who's that guy?
That's Lex Wessner.
Oh.
He's the head of
Bed Bath & Beyond.
And Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this guy on the TV. That's like Bill Glynn.
This is nuts.
This one here looks very suggestive.
It's like a fever.
Is that hanging in the White House?
And you see in the upper right, there's Jeffrey Epstein in a UFO. Here? No, in the very upper, in the very upper right in that gray UFO. I think I'm looking at a delay. That's Jeff. And
who are these weird people? This is a weird painting anyway.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that old painting of like the guy reaching through the dimensions. You seen that?
No, what is
very
that?
Old like carving. I forget what they call it, but he's like reaching through this dimension to another dimension. That's how
Kyle, were you in the Matrix or outside of the Matrix when this story broke? Kyle, were you in the Matrix or outside the Matrix when this larger story broke?
By the Matrix, do you mean in jail or out of jail?
Yeah. Like as far as like you were awakened to what's really happening politically, or before everything happened when you weren't politically involved when this story broke?
I was not in the Matrix.
Okay, I was wondering what your response was if you heard this, or even if it was being talked about, especially amongst the young group of people that you were hanging out with.
No, this was not a conversation piece. I'm sitting here looking at that photograph, and I'm just like, wow, this is one of the most creepiest like photos I've seen ever. It's just weird and interesting.
Yeah, when you agreed to come on this show, it was like getting pushed right into the deep end of the pool. You know what I mean? It's like you've got your story, you've got stuff to talk about, and then like Luke's just.
We could go further down the rabbit hole. By the way, we're just starting. We're just kind of digging the.
On Tucker Carlson just last week, he basically reported that the CIA killed JFK.
Yep.
or that they were involved in it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I see that all over the place today, huh?
That's crazy,
No one's talking
dude.
about that really.
it's strange for me, I'm sure for everybody listening, that when we're younger, it's like, look, there's no global elite ring of like trafficking going on. The CIA was not involved. There's conspiracy theories. And now I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, what time is it? How much longer until they come out and claim the moon landing wasn't actually a real thing? Like, they're just gonna, Tucker Carlson's gonna come out and be like, we've got new evidence.
That actually comes out at 5 p.m. tonight.
Yeah,
Whoa,
exactly, right?
breaking here. Yeah, no,
Well,
we've
it's like all the conspiracy theories are coming true.
yeah, we've inherited like the shattered simulation.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.